It's your girl Jewellery. Welcome back to my channel slash podcast. And today's episode slash video is on the key to learning English and other languages for all. So first, my nationality. I am Chinese. I came to Canada when I was 10. I'm currently 13, which means I've been staying in Canada for 3 years. So my English skills, I can say, is pretty fluent, which is honestly one of the reasons I am confident that I can make this video. So I'm A+ student. I joined debate club, jazz band, honor band, leadership, volleyball team, basketball team, badminton team, all of that in school. And I am also doing a lot of volunteering, and outside of school I'm actually working on a novel, I'm doing my podcast, and of course I'm doing my YouTube channel, which is where you guys are looking at this video. Either way, as you can tell, I did all of this in English. So today I will be sharing some of the tips and methods that I use to level up my skills in English in less than 2 years. So let's get right into today's episode. So first things first is mindset. It is everything, okay? If you have a goal and you don't have the right mindset, in my experience, you won't be willing to be consistent and continue on with the goal. So first mindset you will have to understand is that don't be afraid to speak. The best way to learn a language is to actually use it on other people to communicate and read and write and practice it every day. So if you're currently in an English speaking country or whatever language that you're trying to learn, it's a great opportunity to practice with someone. For example, a native speaker, a local, or one of the friends you made here. So practicing speaking language is like the best way to learn that language. And please don't be afraid to speak. I've seen a lot of people who's like, oh my god, I'm too shy. What if they don't understand what I say? If you don't say something, they will never know what your opinion is. And if you don't share your thoughts, you never know how good your English skills can be. So don't be afraid to speak. Just get out there. Even though they just ask what 5 times, explain it to them. And you can level up your English skills better than anyone. Number 2 is that it is a long process, okay? It's honestly not possible for anyone to learn a language in like, okay, today I woke up and like I can speak Spanish now. That's really not how it works. So you have to understand it's a long run. It's a long shot. It doesn't have to be like 2 weeks you understand this much vocabularies. It can be fast and exciting, but it definitely is long, and it's a long process. You have to build up your skills step by step. Okay, mindset number 3, which is the most important, is that learning a language, just English, doesn't have to be boring and dreadful. Especially you are like a young speaker and learner like me. I'm only 13. It is really hard to actually sit down and remember all the vocabularies, read all the books, and practice speaking, listening every single day. I know, I get that, and I've been there. So today, that's why I'm doing this video, to make your learning process, your journey, a lot less boring and dreadful. And you just don't want to kill yourself. So without further ado, let's get into tip number 1. Okay, tip number 1 is watching English movies. So first, watching English movies practices your listening. And the characters in this movie actually is talking and having conversations and dialogues every single day. So that gives you a chance to actually try to understand what they're saying. Oh, they use the word like this. Oh, they describe and use vocabularies like this. Then that practices your listening skills, and in a way that is so much better than actually using textbook and online resources. Number 2 is grammar. So different people have different ways of saying things, but native speakers, I mean, if you want to travel to a country that speaks English, then you have to understand the slangs, the phrases, and different types of grammars. And the best way to actually get to know them is listening and practicing and interacting with them every single day. And that's exactly what happens when you watch English movies, because characters inside speak the most native, simple, and casual conversation and grammar. So that just gives you a chance to understand the native speaking grammar. That will be really helpful if you're planning to travel to that country and speaking with native speaker and local. Number 3 is reading skills. I mean, it seems to be a little bit frustrating at first, but you can turn up the subtitles in your own language if you interrupt with these words every single day. And every time you watch a movie that you really like, these words and their definition down below will flash into your eyes. The more you look, the more you watch, the more it will flash into your brain and it will sediment it in your brain. So that's like a really good way of reading and memorizing vocabularies as well. So I totally recommend watching English movies. And some movie suggestions, if you're like a young learner like me, I really recommend like Disney movies and DreamWorks, just normal movies like Hotel Transylvania, Frozen, Olaf Presents, that's on Netflix by the way, I really like that. Probably like Beauty and the Beast, Snow White. Okay, number 2 is that reviewing and studying books. A lot of textbooks have mechanic word choices and grammars, but normal books don't. Like fantasies, like storytelling. All of that doesn't have mechanic grammars. Books are simple, plain, and for kids. So, for example, let's say A Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Harry Potter, etc. If you're a young learner, all of those are really great choices for book studying and studying text. So how to study a book, you might ask. First, draw out or note down the words you don't know. Of course, there'll be words you don't know. A lot of books use really, really big $5 words. So instead of like, oh, I don't know this word, and just check it on Google Translate or on a dictionary right at the moment, instead of doing that, you can draw it down and highlight it for now. Then check them afterwards. Because if you check them over and over and over, it interrupts your reading and then you will lose interest. You just, oh my god, it's so annoying. I have to check words like every 2 minutes. Why am I doing this anyway? So that will lose your interest. Instead of doing that, draw and highlight them down, then check them later. Number 2 on how to study books is read aloud. I know this seems kind of stupid, especially when you're in like a public place like cafe or something. But reading aloud practice your reading and speaking. So reading aloud is a really, really good way to practice. Number 3 is really important, but some people might find it boring, is that rereading the same book. So basically, even though you know all the storylines, the plots, everything, reread it. Like reread, not because of the plot, not because of the story, because of how you want to learn it. The more you read, the more these grammars, these sentences, these phrases, these vocabularies will sediment in your mind. Repetition is the best way to learn. And if your English level is not there yet, you can go to tip number 3. Okay, tip number 3 is comic books. Start small, you know? Like for example, when I first started, I started with Babysitter Club, Spider-Man comics, and all of that, it just like really builds up my English from bit to bit. Then afterwards, I can read novels. One thing to notice is that no Japanese or other countries comic like Demon Slayer, like Haikyuu, all that. I know I'm such a huge fan of both, honestly, but like again, if you translate from one language to another, there might be like mechanic sentences. There might be mistake grammar. Comic books are like really combined with dialogues and art. So both of them will help you. The dialogues will help you understand how native speakers talk, and the art will help you understand what was actually going on. So it's so much easier than reading an actual novel. And one challenge I always do when I was younger and learning English is that when you're reading a comic book, you find a panel, like a picture, with dialogues and characters and like backgrounds, and then you try to describe it with your own words. For example, it's a picture of one girl talking to another, saying, oh, why did you lose my 10 bucks? Well, then I will say, oh, the grass is green, the sky is blue. Then the girl with brown hair is asking the other girl with blonde hair about this is this. All of that will help you like build up your English grammar and how you describe something and a scene. So it's really good practice, especially for me, I'm a writer. So sometimes I still practice that even though my English skills is like top notch now. Tip number 4 is to read a story, then say it in your own words. It's sort of related to this challenge I gave you, but first is practice reading. Of course, you have to read a story, then you can describe it. So reading is definitely one of the skills you will be able to control. Next is that you can see what the author says instead of your sentence structure. So, for example, you describe something as, oh, the cat is sleeping. That's what you say, but when you actually read the book, the author says, oh, the warm fireplace is blazing, the cat is warm on the carpet, curled into a ball, and you're like, oh, I don't know any of those phrases, and you learn from them. So it's really good practice, and I use it a lot still, like every day, to practice my writing skills and my like world building. So if you're a teen writer as well, first contact me, then you can use this challenge. Okay. Now, number 5, British or American English. So, I guess I just like choose one. This is the best I can explain it. Choose one, not two, not both, one. So, the problem is if you don't know like a difference between them, the pronunciations are very different, by the way. So, if you actually mix them up, the words might sound like a completely different thing, or it doesn't sound like anything at all. So if you put both American English and British English together into one single word, people might not understand what you say. That might mess up your pronunciation a lot. I know that firsthand. I know it seems really silly when I say it, but it actually happened. So honestly, depend on the region or the method or actually your choice. But like if you're moving to London, then well, learn British English. You're moving to Canada or let's say LA like me, then choose American English, but definitely not both. So be careful of that. Tip number 6 is that breaking words into pieces. This is a really good way for me to learn spelling and pronunciation. So first with reading, it's easier to sound out. Experiments. So first you have experiment. Then you can just sound the whole thing out, put them together like a Lego piece. Experiment. There you go. The next time when you try to memorize this word, you will be like, oh, experiment. But instead you can just sound out. So let's say experiment. How do you make the sound X? Well, EX. Experiment. Well, then it has to be a P. PER. And then rement, then RI, and then ment, MENT. So that's basically a really good way to sound out. And before I know this method, like breaking words into pieces, like I have to memorize vocabularies one letter by one letter, but that takes so long, it's so stressful, and it's really unnecessary. But if you know the breaking into pieces, I call it the Lego method because it's like a Lego piece, but if you know the Lego method, then it's so much easier and you can just learn the word by minute. If you know how to read it, you know how to write. If you know how to write, you know how to pronounce. So that's like the easiest way to learn vocabularies. So that's definitely like a really good tip. Like save that right now. Number 7 is talk to native speakers. If you have a chance, of course. So first you can learn how they phrase something. For example, you say, oh, do you need your receipt? Or do you need something? Then maybe a native speaker will say, can I get your check? Well, these kind of slangs, trends, pronunciations, they're just all popping it out, and when you remember them, you'll become more and more fluent in the language you're going to learn. So a lot of people might ask, oh, where can you find native speakers? Again, if you're leaving like a country, for example, when I was back in China, I didn't have a lot of chance to talk to native speakers, native English speakers, native French speakers. So it's really frustrating, but now moving to Canada, if you're in a country that speaks the language you want to learn, you can go to like local churches, like there'll be like language meetings there, there's school, colleagues, or there's any people that you know. Tip number 8 is textbook is not always good. I know not a lot of people say this is like a very broad knowledge that people talk about. But for me, textbook is for knowledge. You can't understand grammar mistakes and like translate vocabularies. That's true. But though in like a native speaker, it might not be like that at all. For example, back in China, I used to learn how to greet people. I said, hi, my name is Jewellery. How is your day? Fine, thank you. And you? That's what I always learned. But when I first came to Canada, people just go like, hey, how are you? What's up? How's it going? Howdy. You know, all sorts of stuff that I was like, what? So honestly, text was not always good. You know, vocabularies and grammars does help, but sometimes in like actually conversations or dialogues, it might not always be the good source to actually learn that. Again, speaking with a native speaker or a local is honestly the best way for you to learn how to speak. So again, textbook is not always good. Tip number 9. This one's a little bit personal, but I'm still gonna throw it out there, is podcasts. Listening to English or the language you want to speak podcast, and it's really helpful. Again, like helps with listening, you have your vocabularies, and usually it's just native speaker talking there. Again, grammar, punctuations, slang, all that goodies you can find on podcasts. But if you're saying, oh my god, podcast is so boring, like why would I listen to someone yap? But I do have some really good podcast recommendations. If you're a young learner like me, I used to listen to this website / company / podcast production. It's called GZM Shows / Gen Z Media. You can just search it up online. They're so good. It's a fictional podcast. Like listening to them is like watching a movie, but without the movie. Like you can legitimately imagine the entire situation in your head. Like it just gives your imagination to go everywhere. So it's really good. Some of my recommendation is 6 minutes. Like it has 5 seasons now. The plot twists are unreal. Like guys. And also is Becoming Mother Nature. If you're a sports fan, there's sports. If you're an art fan, there's art. If you're like a mystical, a history fan, there's like Ancient Egypt and adventure. If you're like an animal lover, they have that too. It's like a whole world unlocked. So you guys, I strongly recommend GZM Shows / Gen Z Media. Go search that up because it helps so much. Though it's only for English learners. Okay, so that is basically it for this video. I hope it helped you to learn a new language. I mean, obviously it's definitely not easy and it's not always rainbows and sunshines, but I've always been there and made it out alive. Look at me. I survived. So if you like this video and want to have more like this, so please subscribe, follow, leave a comment, share with friends, and turn on notifications. And leave a comment on what you're struggling with. I will share my tips on it as well. If you have any questions, you can come find me. Again, this is Jewellery, and thank you so much for watching and listening to me yap in this video. Either way, I will see you in the next one. Bye!